Greetings everyone, here is Lodrik again, and this is the Game War in the Pacific Admits Edition. This is my play-by-ear match against Deaniks. He's a Japanese player, and for me it is the allied side. You can see that the Japanese are slowly taking over more and more bases in Malaya. I do not really defend most of them. Japanese subs around Hawaii trying their best, but failing to intercept my convoys going in and out. Still not much activity around Hawaii this early in the war. I have still to repair all of my damaged ships from the airstrike and training my air fleet there. This coast of California, deep water, and my ships have often not the skills to hunt enemy subs. This is one of my submarines engaging on surface because the tanker have no escort, so I can use my deck gun. And only my deck gun because torpedoes are not really working so early in the war. But heavy fires, heavy damage, and sinking sound. This is a very small tanker, so it's not really important. But a morale victory, maybe, for the American submarine fleet. And there are dive bombers here close to Sydney, so this let me know the enemy carrier fleet is still around Sydney, Brisbane. And the next sweep of Manila, and I take on this battle. So let's see how well my cap is here fighting today. I cannot achieve a victory, but hopefully I can create enough ops losses on the Japanese side. And today I don't have long range cap. It will burn through my airframes. So I let my ground troops suffer these airstrikes. Changsha Airport still every day some small strikes here. So the enemy carrier fleet must be south of Brisbane but north of Sydney to scout both hexes, Sydney and Brisbane port. But all of these ships are low value, so you can see here, this is exactly nearly southeast of Sydney. So this is the airstrike against port of Sydney, but I don't have here much. All my ships are already in Pago Pago or Perth or out of range. And only very support ships are here in port. Nothing too special. Maybe the AP have the highest value. Second airstrike, and I also don't have this early on any cap here. I not even want to try to engage the Japanese carrier fighter divisions. So I rely here completely on flak. Good. So means all of my ships in Sydney port are lost. But we will check later what value they had. Yeah, all my local minesweepers going down. Not that I really need local minesweepers in Sydney. Possible that the Japanese try to mine the port, but that is high risk. Sydney have a very strong minefield for this kind of defense purpose. Good bombardment here. So the Japanese are stronger than my Chinese garrison. We will see if I can hold this hex much longer or if I better retreat. Nothing else happened here today. A lot of bases are getting an upgrade. That is good. And let's see how successful this airstrike on Sydney was and how well my American fighters was over Manila port. Then see you soon. Good. So, air battle over Manila with nearly equal high losses. So, the Japanese lost 3 zeros air to air. The rest are dive bombers or torpedo bombers damaged, destroyed by flak of over Sydney. So 9 airframes for the Japanese and 7 for me. Most of my airframes are destroyed by ops losses. So out of my 7 airframes lost, these are all Manila. I had no wounded, no killed. Everything is fine. All my pilots are fine. So I have here 4 aces, but 1 is wounded. And I guess they are all more or less Manila. But the negative aspect of the turn is that I lost today the AP that had value, but it's one of many ships I have. All the rest is small fish. Okay, the ACMs in Sydney had the job to maintain the minefield. Now they're destroyed. And the local mine sweepers are only for make sure that the Japanese can mine my own port. Anything else here around Pearl Harbor? Everything's fine. Nothing really happened. Still repairing ships. So you can see I also convert some cargo ships to AKAs to rearm all kind of ships anywhere I want if it's my own base. 4 battleships under repair, but roughly in 3 weeks I have 3 of them are done. Only Idaho is a little more damage, but 2 months and it's also fine. That one have already radar, so I can send it out directly. Pennsylvania normally need also the upgrade, so it's not ready to go out. New Mexico is ready to go out, and Tennessee is also ready to go out. So once the upgrades are done, so I would say in March I can send my battleship fleet out to assist somewhere, maybe east coast of Australia. And the heavy cruiser, the Portland class, you can see there's an upgrade in April. This one have no radar, so normally I don't want to use any ship without radar against Japanese. The Japanese have a much better night engagement skill, and yeah, so you need radar to have a chance in night engagement. Of course, you can always try your luck. Anyway, East Coast or West Coast, better to say. Nothing here, nothing special. Carriers on the way to Pearl Harbor, Saratoga. But I will keep my carrier fleet similar to my battleships back in port and wait to at least March to get here the upgrade. I have a radar, that is fine, but I get much better flak. And I can use the time to train my pilots. Because most of my pilots are really still very weak. Skill level. Pago building up here. Pago is a must hold. I try to, together with Suva, the cornerstones of my supply run over the Pacific. Canton Island, I also try to build it up. Baker Island, I try to build up a forward air base to get early warning. And the rest is all standard, I would say. So the carriers are west of Sydney. It's fine. If they want to stay and stick here, it's okay. Sydney, the base itself is fine. All ships are destroyed. Who was outside? There are only some ships yeah, still running anti-submarine patrol or anti-mine warfare. And these are the two AMs they trying to escape. These are the only ships escaping my supply convoy to Nomaya. All cargo ships are lost already, and the AMs are all out of fuel, so they are burning the engines more or less. I think my carrier is back. You can see fleet carrier and support carrier all in Townsville. I stay here and hide because I don't even try to engage two carrier divisions so early on. So I'm waiting for the right moment, and I train all the pilots because the Australian Air Force fleet is even more shitty than the American. So they are far from ready. But I have here one American fighter wing to try to protect the port. And yeah, nothing else. So you can also see I try to bring in some or AVP in this case, to a base where I guess it will not auto flip because it's too far away from the typical Tulagi Shortland Rabul area. And then I will station here some forward Navy search airplane wing. So if I can maybe intercept or detect early tankers or whatever, then maybe I have a chance to go out with my carrier uh, unit and maybe intercept them. It's the only option I try to build up. Nothing else here, Dutch East Indies. Philippines are quiet. We had here this air battle today. My fighters did what was possible. The airbase is still wrecked, but acceptable to operate aircraft. And you can see that my fighters getting slowly better and better. And here's also one air wing with an ace. Fine. And yeah, Manila is already at level 2 fort level. That is fine. Clarkfield is completely destroyed, so I need a week or 2 weeks to finish this damage repair, and then I can maybe build up fort level 2. I only realize that sooner or later I will run out of supplies. Yeah, but what I can do. Java looks fine. Sumatra no attacks. In Malaya is, yeah, I hold these 3 bases in Singapore. I also organized to change here to 2A, so I can now make airlifting out of this landlocked bases because seaplanes cannot land here, so I need land aircraft. I also sent here my Dutch cargo airplanes to help me to transfer equipment to Singapore. Purpose is getting here more AV to Singapore. If I can get 500, I mean, I start with 500 and maybe I can get 600, even 700 is maybe possible. Because I have in this base 129 and in this base I have 100. So if I can save 50 AV out of these 2 bases each, and I have here 600, 650, it will maybe help me a little more. And Burma, no activity, but the Japanese are coming. And yeah, I have here so only some block units that the base will not auto switch on something like this. But and I try to get this guy also maybe back. But I will not fight for Mole Mine or Pegu. Only block forces to slow down the advance of the Japanese forces. India is still not even enough to fulfill all garrison requests. I still have many bases. They're plopping up every 3 turns. Not enough garrison requests. Bombay, it's totally under supplied by garrison units. Karachi is now fine, and Calcutta is acceptable. So it will not more really often give me the lost victory point message. I also built up, of course, Karachi as soon as possible to airfield level 8 to double here my AV. That I have here an airbase I can use later if the Japanese are reaching Pegu. I will start to use my B-17s from the Philippines. The units are left because Pegu is roughly 16 hexes and Pegu is also clear. So there's no jungle. I don't need to bomb the Japanese before. This will not make really sense, at least no damage. And I can use the time to train my pilots because most of my pilots are still not very well uh, trained. And 17 is normal range for the early D edition, and the E with a better armament, they only have range of 15. So I will have a long range strike against Pegu because it's a range of 16. But if the Japanese trying to go this way, then I can attack because this hex is also clear. So these two hexes would give me the opportunity to make airstrikes against them. At the same time, my own air wing is here still the Flying Tigers, but I really try not to use them here. This is only for the early defense work. I really try to get American airframes into this air wings because I have much more American air frames than this Chinese. These are official, still Chinese airframes. If you check it, you can see that they are belonging to the Chinese nation. And the Chinese don't get any other airframes early on replacement. So I want to get all of this early P40B airframes to the original Chinese air wings. Because what else I have here? This is only the little one I have. This is already the Flying Tiger airframes, but all the rest is all this Russian stuff, and it's useless. And I really have only this kind of equipment here. So you can see the P40Es I first get in end of 42 official. So Vanguard is not a really good airframe. It's acceptable, but it's not a good airframe. So getting the Chinese P40Bs to the Chinese Air Force with Chinese pilots is, I think, the better choice. And in China itself, everything looks normal. The Japanese are trying to push here. I try to counter what is possible, but again, clear terrain, no Chinese Air Force. It's a little dangerous, and even if I lose here one of my armies, it doesn't matter. I try to not run away on purpose to keep it a little realistic and also not to let the Japanese overrun my forward position too fast. So I have here more or less a block hex here. I will maybe create here other block that nothing can rush to Changsha. I try to build up these two bases, or at least these three bases, and see if I really must fall back, yes or no. But I call back everything else to Xi'an and build up a new Xi'an army. I don't really fight for Yenan. This makes no sense, not at least from my point of view. So that is all. Then see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.